So I'm supposed to talk about this other encounter that I had, and this was separate from the one um, that I had during the Perseids meteor shower. This is a separate thing. Um, but I'm being called to talk about it, even though I don't really want to. There was and I talked about the Perseids meteor shower encounter that I had in a video. I think it's called this video was difficult to record because I don't really want to talk about it. That's the title of the video. So this other encounter I had, I was just outside of Moab, Utah, Moab, Utah, like right a couple miles from the Arches National Park, excuse me. And I had been led off the freeway. I don't remember which freeway it was. And it was warm. It was the middle of, well, not the middle, but it was June. So June? Yeah, it was June. Or the end of May. I don't remember which. End of May, I'm being told. Okay. So I was outside of Moab, Utah, by the Arches, or near the Arches National Park. And hold on. Pardon me for pausing it. And it was a thunderstorm, like the whole way I was driving back to Colorado. I was supposed to go back to Colorado Springs. And it had been raining for days, probably 2 days of traveling. This was the second day. And one of the things I had complained about to the Father was the weather, because on the way back, not even a month, I don't think it had even been a week. I don't think I even stayed in California for a week before I left again. I was called to leave, and I did. And one of the things I complained to the Father about was the weather, because on the way back in May, mid-May, I think it was. Oh. Excuse me, like the third week in May. Excuse me. Bella and I had been driving through the 4 states, or the 4 corners area, and it was 120 degrees. I mean, it was just, I couldn't even run the AC at all. It was intensely hot and just miserable. It was miserable, horrible weather. And so I had complained about this, like basically had a full-on fit with the Father, completely like meltdown, because he asked me to go back, and I had just gotten back to California. I had just gotten back. I mean, I think I was maybe back like on the 3rd day he asked me to go back to Colorado Springs. And he told me to come back to California. So I was like, what is this? Why are you doing this? Why? I didn't really get an answer as to why. I mean, I did, but not really. Not a specific answer, I should say. And so I turned around and went back, but during the whole drive back and through Utah, there was a storm, and people kept remarking to me, like everywhere I would stop, not everywhere, but a couple places where I stopped for gas and cigarettes, I think. I spoke with the shop attendant, like the gas station attendant, and they remarked to me how odd this was to have a storm in the middle of summer. And I hadn't really necessarily thought about it, whether it was odd or not, but I did notice that the Father made the weather, the whole drive there was it was cooler indeed, because of the rain and cloud cover. And I mean, I was very grateful for that. And the Lord and I had a good laugh about it, because that was exactly what I had thrown. I mean, I pitched a full-on fit about having to drive through the through the desert again. And, you know, anyway, so this storm is swallowing me the whole way. And, I find myself, you know, like it was getting to be evening time, and we're driving through Utah, Bella and I, and I mean, I didn't know where I was really. I wasn't really paying attention. I knew I was headed towards Moab, but I didn't really know, like, pay attention to what towns I was driving through or anything like that. And confirmation. And you know, I wasn't familiar with the area, is what I'm trying to say. What I said. And I didn't want to park, and I had been talking to the Father about this. I didn't want to park outdoors, you know, like not under cover, because I can't keep the windows rolled down with it raining, and it was far too warm and humid to sleep with the windows up. And I have these screens that fit over all 4 of my doors, front doors and both the back doors, so I can have airflow without getting bugs, and also it's kind of a security measure to have the screens on the windows. So in the middle of this drive, well, not in the middle, for about the 2 hours prior to me pulling over, to me being guided to pull off the freeway, highway, whatever it was, I think it's a freeway, confirmation, the lightning, I mean, I had never seen a lightning storm like this. Thunder and lightning, I had never seen anything like this. And I've seen quite a few very intense storms, but this was something else. I mean, it was incredible, visually stunning. And the energy about it was stunning as well. And so I'm driving through this lightning storm, and the Lord's talking to me the whole time, as he usually does. But it was interesting, because it was like the lightning was going to my music. I had music on in the car, and it didn't matter what song was playing. It was going to like the bass line of my music, and to like the especially during the choruses of my music. And I mean, I listen to all different kinds of music, praise, dubstep, I mean, all kinds of music. I listen to all kinds of music. And so it was interesting that it was going to the beat of my music. I mean, I was blown away by this. And I was also getting confirmation to speaking out loud to the Lord by lightning strikes. That's what was going on. I thought this is wild. But then the Lord's done a lot of really wild things for me in the last couple of years. So, of course, throughout my entire life, but in the last couple of years, most significantly. And I, you know, had this conversation with the Father about wanting to find some place with trees, at least like tree cover, so that I could, you know, sleep with the windows open and not get water in the car. And so he tells me to get off the highway, to get off the freeway. So I do. I didn't know where I was. I had no idea where I was going or anything, but the Lord guided me to a bridge, like an underpass, and it wasn't a large underpass like a large freeway in LA, like you could see it or something. I was in the middle of Utah, dark in every direction. I could barely see, and pouring rain too. And I didn't know where I was. And he guides me off the highway to, it was a bridge, and underneath, you know, I could park underneath the bridge so that I could have the windows down and sleep with the windows open. So I'm down there under the bridge, and I get Bella and I set up for sleep in the car, because I kind of convert the Subaru from daytime driving to nighttime sleeping space. And I'm doing this, and I I, as I often do, feel this very distinct presence, but it wasn't like right behind me. Like it wasn't really near me. It was at the edge of the bridge. So I take my binoculars because I can see that there are 3 separate lightning storms off in the distance. And by this time it stopped raining where we are, but off to I think it was off to the north, the east, and the south. There were lightning storms. Like it was like a triangle of them near me, and it was stunning visually, beautiful display. And I go to the edge of this. Excuse me, pardon me. The father, I had been having these encounters with an entity that kept calling himself like a black hole sun. Like he appeared like dark lightning. I don't know how to, like if you inverted the lighting on, like inverted the contrast on lightning, something like that, like a tear in space-time, something that was both like light and dark. It was, and this being, what this entity was, it was scary at first. I was scared of it. It was so powerful. I had never encountered anything like this. So I'm standing at the edge of the bridge, and there's this entity with me, this black hole sun, this very bright but darker than dark being with me. And I go to the edge of the bridge, and this thing was with me. Like it was larger than me. It was larger than the bridge. But I go to the edge of the bridge, and there's an Ophanim there. And apparently this was a lightning Ophanim. And I was dwarfed. I kept hunkering down, like almost wanting to kneel, not in anything, but just, I felt so small. I was dwarfed by this thing. It was huge, and I couldn't see it with my eyes, but I could perceive it in energy. And I could barely look at this thing. It was so terrifying. It was so big and so like dancing with lightning in it. Like I had never seen anything like this. And that, along with the black hole sun entity that was standing next to me, I was just, and I told this thing that it was terrifying. It was the power of it was what was terrifying. Not so much the size, but the power behind it. And so I had to step away. I had to step away several times and go back to the car because I was so overwhelmed with the power of this thing, like the might and the energetic field and frequency of this thing was so powerful. And this black hole sun entity stayed with me, and still hasn't left. Just like the angel that I had the encounter with during the Perseus meteor shower that I talk about on this channel. And of course this thing said, don't be afraid, be not afraid. Be not afraid, and be of good courage, and do not let your heart be dismayed. And I was like, what? It was eerily powerful. Many things this thing told me, both of them in fact. But I had been getting messages about this black hole sun, including through the song. I think it's Soundgarden that does it. Yeah, Soundgarden, Black Hole Sun, the song. Another song that kept getting played for me was Skyfall. And there was another one, When the World Ends, I think. Is that Hootie and the Blowfish, or is it the Dave Matthews Band? I think it's Hootie and the Blowfish. I'm not familiar with either of those bands. But this song kept playing. And REM's It's the End of the World as We Know It. Those songs. Anyway, that Black Hole Sun entity has not left me. He stays with me. He stays with me, and he's very powerful. We have had long, extended conversations about him, about the things that he wants to tell me. And I guess that's all he wants me to tell you right now. He says he extends a hand of gratitude to all those who seek him. Because he wants to reveal himself to us. I kept getting shown that this was the okay. I guess that's all I'm supposed to say for now. I hope this video finds you blessed. Love, blessings, and compassion to everyone. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Peace be with you.